Welcome, and I am so excited to have author Michelle Griep with us today. Michelle!
Happy to be here.
Thank you for being willing to talk to me again.
Anytime, all the time.
All right. Okay, so you have a new book called The Man of Shadow and Mist.
I do.
I just see the
Cue
fog.
scary music, right?
And the fog rolling by.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to know all the juicy things you found out when you were researching this about vampires.
Okay.
Well, and actually, give a little synopsis of the book.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
Then we go into the
Why
vampires.
are we talking about vampires?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. So I have, this sounds weird, but I've been a big fan of Dracula since I was a teenager. And I actually saw him first, Dracula, on the Mississippi River, since we're here at the Mississippi River Readers Retreat, at the Showboat. The University of Minnesota used to have a showboat on the river that performed Dracula. So it was all actors from the U. So that's where my love of Dracula came. So I thought, oh, okay, well let's do a vampire story, but being that it's Christian fiction, how do you do a vampire story? Because everybody knows they suck your blood and they take your soul and all the above. And so I'm like, how am I going to do this? I don't know. So one of my other author buddies, Erica Vetch, had the idea of, well, I think there's a disease that kind of mimics vampirism. So I researched it out.
She would know
I
that.
know, she knows everything. I researched it out, and lo and behold, there is. Porphyria is, well, it's not called the vampire disease, but it has a lot of the same, we'll call it symptoms, that a vampire would show. So that's where I got all my ideas to incorporate into my heroes, the character who's blamed to be a vampire. But your aversion to mirrors, they wouldn't want to go by mirrors because it can disfigure your skin terribly. So you wouldn't want to see yourself in a mirror. You would not want to be out in sunlight because that's how you get disfigured. It can cause all these little blisters and sores and whatnot. Okay, here's a gross little fact, but it can affect your output, shall we say, your urine kind of thing, and make it blood red. So that kind of ties in the, oh, were you drinking blood? How did that happen? You know,
Sure.
That kind of thing. And it can actually, in some instances, make you go mad. So you can have the crazy vampire thing too. So I learned all these things in connection with Porphyria and kind of melded them together into my hero because he looks and talks and acts like a vampire, but he's not a vampire.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
But, I mean, where did the vampire myth come
The
up?
legend.
Yeah,
okay.
legend. Thank
okay.
you. Where's that?
Well, actually, many cultures have a blood-sucking sort of folklore to them, but our traditional, what we like to think of as Dracula the vampire, came from Romania. So over in Transylvania, so of course that's where I had to put my hero, was in a Transylvanian castle, but that's where many of the stories come from, is from Romania, that area.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
I bet it was fun to...
Oh man, I so wanted to go to Transylvania and get over there, but I just couldn't swing it with my schedule and such. But one day I do want to go there.
And so on your website, there's a picture of this castle. What is that?
That is in Whitby. They have an old abbey. There's the ruins of this old abbey that is just perfect because it's right by St. Mary's Church that has all these old tombstones that are falling over. And in fact, that's why I included Bram Stoker as a character in this book, because he went to Whitby and he was inspired by so many things there, and that he actually put in Dracula. So yeah, the whole abbey, the whole, tombstones, the little bench that Lucy sat on before Dracula came and visited her. So yeah, that's all there. It's all in Whitby. Yeah.
What draws you to this kind of a dark gothic?
I know. I think I'm a goth
world.
girl at heart, so I should have put black lipstick on today. Okay, so the love of that probably comes from actually Charlotte Bronte, Jane Eyre. Okay. My favorite book ever. So, which is a dark and shadowy tale, and I'm just that captured my heart when I read that as a teenager, and so, yeah, it just never left me. So and life's not all sunshine and roses, is it? So we all have our dark periods to go through, but there's always light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. So what do you hope readers will take away from your stories?
Exactly. You tied into it. Hope. I hope readers take away hope that yes, we do all go through very dark and ugly times in our life. But if you know Jesus, there's always hope. Always hope. So that's what I try to infuse into my characters so that my readers take that away. So yeah, my characters go through some very dark times, hard things, but at the end there's always some kind of hope. And never the hope that you think it's going to be. Because God does not answer us how we think He should answer us. He answers us how we should be answered. So, yeah.
So, in this book, your character, the female character, she kind of has her reputation becomes maybe tarnished. And that's what I find so interesting in these, Regency era, the other, Victorian or whatever, these older storylines that it was so different than what it is now. So what
so
other
different.
So
different.
So in this book, she has to spend the night at this home, but there's several people in the home.
There's staff,
and it's not like they're in the same room. But her reputation is tarnished. So what other ways can a woman's reputation become tarnished in this time period?
Just anytime you can't be alone with a man ever. Like, you can't be in the same room alone with the man. You can't be in the same house alone with the man. And staff didn't count as people. So they were not seen. It didn't matter. We're not seen as people. So any, a correspondence with a man, no.
Yeah, so they couldn't write out, an unmarried man, or you could not be engaged, or how does that work?
So if it was a family friend, known to it was known that you were writing to, you'd have to have a really good reason to write to this man. Otherwise, you're just not going to do it, because that's not going to happen. No, because that would wreck your reputation, and you'd be like, oh, well, now I have to marry you. So, yeah, you would not. No. Yeah. So just any of those, very, very strict about that, and that went well into the Victorian era. It was all through the 1900s. So yeah, very, very prim and proper, had to have a chaperone, which was why it was scandalous for Rose's mother to leave her alone in the sitting room. And so that would not be done.
It's just so fascinating, and how far we've come.
Yeah, oh my goodness, no kidding. Yeah.
So what do you have coming out next?
Okay, coming out next, I have, I'll take you back to Kitten Jackson, the Blackfriars of Blackfriars fame. So I'm doing The Sleuth of Blackfriars Lane. So I did.
I do not.
Have you read those?
No, I have not.
Oh, girl. Okay, you need to read these. So I did the Thief of Blackfriars Lane, The Bride of Blackfriars Lane, and now The Sleuth of Blackfriars Lane. So Bride was like, have you ever seen the children's movie Zootopia?
Yes.
Okay, it's Zootopia set in Victorian England.
Oh.
Okay, in London. So I've got the rookie constable who's gonna clean up all the streets of London, and then the swindler. It's not a fox, but it's a girl. So she is a street woman who runs a crew of swindlers. Of course, she reforms in Bride of Blackfriars Lane, where they get married. And now the one I'm
man, did you just spoil it?
I did not.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's called Bride.
Okay.
But then Sleuth of Blackfriars Lane. Have you seen Miss Scarlet and the Duke?
No.
Oh, y'all need to see this. Okay, it's a wonderful PBS series, and Miss Scarlet is a Victorian female detective, which is very rare. So I thought, I'm gonna have Kit be a detective. So she's gonna open up her own agency with her father, and of course get into all kinds of shenanigans that her husband Jackson will not want her to get into. But it will have a happy ending.
That's what I like.
That's what's up next on the docket.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how many books do you come out with in a year?
Oh my goodness. Okay. Normally just one, but over the next 2 years, I've got 5 books coming out. So I'm going to be writing like crazy.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I got a lot to do.
Yeah.
A lot to do. So there'll be lots more coming out.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
That's all good for us.
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe not good for you, but.
Right. Yeah. So there will be one more in the Monsters and Men. I'll be doing one more for that, and I think I'm going to do Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Oh.
So, yeah. So I'll finish up that series.
You know, in all of that, I've never thought about the history of all in all of that. You know.
Yeah.
So.
I wondered what inspired these authors to create these monsters or characters.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd give them a little inspiration.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
So how do you take a character and mold them and figure out what they're going to do, and how does that process go for you?
Well, first I want to figure out what's his goal in life, and then of course, why does he want that goal? And I'm going to throw up a roadblock so he can't have that goal. Because isn't that life? Oh my goodness, we're always wanting to do things, and we know why we want to do them, and then doggone if something doesn't happen, that we can't do it. So that's what I give to all my main characters. And then I just try to add in realistic, even though I write historical, truth is timeless, right? And so people of the past struggle with the same exact issues we deal with. So like in Sleuth, I've got my main character Kit dealing with, she's a mom now, and how is she gonna deal with running a detective agency while caring for her child? And it's a huge struggle for her, because it is for us today. Mm-hmm. So to make them complex, I just give them the same problems we have today and then tweak it so that it's more historical. Yeah.
Excellent. All right.
All right.
Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Love visiting with you.
Anytime.
I will take you up on
Alrighty, let's do it.
All right. Michelle Griep, where can people go to learn more about your books?
You can go to my website, which is just michellegriep.com, and keep up with me there, or follow me on Facebook. I'm pretty active on there, so Michelle Griep on Facebook.
And she is one of the 3 in the Inspirational Regency Readers group on Facebook. It's a great group.
It is. It's a fabulous group. It's like the readers that are in there are just interactive like you wouldn't believe, so that makes a lot of fun.
Yes. Yeah. So and that's Erica Vetch, Julie Clausen,
yes.
and Michelle Griep.
Yes.
On that, and I'm a part of that group, and it's fun to see the things.
It is fun
on there. So
yeah.
Awesome. All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you.